Good morning, everybody. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Retirement. Today is Wednesday, September 3rd, and the time is 9:02 a.m. Let's go ahead and do the report out procedures.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kehoe. This meeting is being conducted as a virtual and in-person meeting, so we'll do a roll call of the trustees to confirm attendance. Ms. Ginsburg? Here. Mr. Razzo? Ms. Langton? Here. Mr. Root? Ms. Fessler?
Here.
Mr. Oakham?
Here.
Mr. Green? Mr. Kehoe?
Present.
Mr. Robbins? Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Okay, Trustee Rue and Mr. Razzo will be joining in later. Staff participating in the meeting include the following: Acting CEO Louis Lugo, CIO John Grable, AEOs JJ Popovich and Laura Guglielmo, Chief Counsel Stephen Rice. Staff participating in the meeting include Frank Boyd, Ted Granger, Tamara Caldwell, Allison Barrett, Eugenia Durr, Christine Roseland, Jasmine Bath, Barry Liu, Louis Gittins, and James Beasley. We also have Craig Glide on Zoom for the Milliman presentation. Trustees, please use the raise your hand option to be placed in the queue. At this time, we ask all meeting participants to mute their mic until you're ready to speak. And now we proceed with the agenda.
Great. Next item of business is our Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Ginsburg, please lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we have our procedures for teleconference meeting.
Mr. Rue and Mr. Razzo will be joining us, but I don't see them in the queue yet. So
Okay, so when they do join us, we'll go ahead and table this item and come back to
Yes.
the item to address it. Moving on to the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 6th. We have it moved and seconded.
Okay,
Please
Ms. Ginsburg?
Yes.
Mr. Razzo? Ms. Langton?
Yes.
Mr. Rue? Ms. Fessler?
Yes.
Mr. Oakham?
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
And Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Perfect. And I see Mr. Rue has joined us.
Okay.
So I vote yes.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Mr. Rue, Trustee Rue will be participating by teleconference AB 2449 for Just Cause A Childcare. Trustee Rue, please confirm if there's any individuals 18 years or older present at your location.
No.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. And we'll move right on to our public comment period. I have no pre-requests. Do we have any
No public
from the
comments.
audience? Okay. Then we will move on to our executive update with the LACERA All-Stars. JJ.
Good morning, trustees. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Each month, we take a moment to recognize the LACERA staff who have gone above and beyond the call of duty. These are our all-stars. And this month, we recognize the folks that are coming up on the screen. Edward Tomita, Margaret Chaw, Savag Antabian, and Tamara Caldwell. And then our rideshare recipient is Liping Lee. And our web watcher is Leilani Ignacio. There they are. Thank you very much, everybody, for everything you do.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. Moving on to our member spotlight.
So Member Spotlight is a way for LACERA to recognize the public servants that care for the constituents of Los Angeles County. It's also an opportunity for all of us to reflect on what we do and why we do what we do, which is to empower them to enjoy a healthy and secure retirement. And so this month, we recognize Karen A. Stevens. Ms. Stevens is an interpreter for the Los Angeles County Superior Court. She's worked for the Superior Court for 22 years. She really enjoys her job. It's a very important job, making sure that those that have to appear in court understand what's going on. And it requires a lot of rigorous annual testing to make sure that she can interpret both reading and writing and verbal. So she is going to be retiring very shortly. Her heroes, I love this one, all the trailblazing women who came before her and broke barriers to make possible for her to thrive in her career. And that's really a noble recognition for all the women that have come before her. So with that, we wish her the best in her upcoming retirement. She's going to do some traveling, volunteering, and practice yoga. So thank you very much, Ms. Stevens, for everything that you've done.
Great. Let's move along to our Chief Executive Officer's report.
Great. Good morning, Vice Chair Kehoe. Good morning, trustees. A couple of updates from the CEO report. First, we want to thank all of our team members. We concluded the workplace culture survey at LACERA, and we had about over 2/3 response rate, 67.5% response rate. While we want 100%, I think our baseline response rate signifies good engagement and will provide us a good baseline to work from. So I appreciate the staff that took the time to complete the survey. We're going through an analysis phase. We will be circling back with the team to provide some updates in terms of areas of strength, areas of improvement, and then we'll circle back with the ACRE committee as well as OOC and potentially some informational reports to the BOI and the BOR in terms of our action plan from that survey. So more to come there. It's probably about a 6-month timeline between now and the time that we'll launch into a action plan, maybe sooner than that, but I wanted to give that update. And then secondly, an update on the lifetime maximum benefit. Good news, not great news, but definitely good news for us in terms of the lifetime max. There was a lot of collaborative effort between our RHC team, our legal team, Mr. Kryman, the county CEO's office. So we have a commitment to increase the lifetime max effective with July 2026 to $2.25 million. That's a $750,000 increase. Every dollar matters when we're talking about our retirees and the cost of healthcare today. And then we have another commitment in July of 2027 to increase the max to $3 million, assuming migration data stays low. We understand that the county currently is under, publicly budget constraints and appreciate the collaborative effort. Again, not where we want to be, but it's closer to where we want to get to in terms of ultimate elimination. So again, appreciate all the individuals that have worked on this. It's definitely a win for our retirees and appreciate the board's patience as we've worked through this negotiation with the county CEO's office. With that, I'm gonna pass it to JJ for an update on the safety election, on where we're at.
So thank you very much. So the voting for the safety election concluded, and we will have preliminary results around the 9th. That's when they intend to notify the candidates, and then right after that, we notify it. However, I did reach out and get some participation results to share with you. We had 12,136 eligible voters. Interestingly enough, between this election and the last safety member election, that's 737 less. There are less safety members. The voting turnout was not as robust as we had hoped. 17.36% was the official total. That is despite our regular round of notifications that we do and that the county does, including we did a last minute one and about 3 or 4 days before the election ended to try and boost up response rates. So we're going to take a look at this on our side, look at our response rates in terms of how people responded to our emails and things like that, and put our heads together and see what we can do to increase election turnout in the future. We do that after every election, but I just wanted to share that with you. And so as soon as we get the preliminary results, we'll let everybody know.
Perfect. And the LACERA email, a lot of people had not gotten it that I had spoken to, and it's not because I believe it's because they just never signed up for the My LACERA account and not in the email system. So maybe that would be a good thing, is try and target active employees, because I think most retirees end up setting up an account. Modern retirees start setting up accounts as they're heading out. But might be a way to increase that. But I know there is outreach across the board. So yeah,
we are working on one of the things we are working on is changing the onboarding process and setting that process up so that you're registering through My LACERA at the beginning of your career.
That's good.
As part of the member sworn statement, which is a requirement that all members have to do. So had a great meeting with Department of Human Resources, managers about a month ago, where I laid out the plan for that. And so we're working on that. And then, yeah, we are increasing our efforts. We talk about it every single chance we get to get people to register for LACERA. So.
Absolutely. Perfect. And great report in general. I mean, the movement on the retiree healthcare, although not where we want it to be, I think it's in a positive direction, and baby steps is better than no steps at all. And your percentage of engagement from staff on the pulse survey is actually outstanding. I think if you mention it to the County of Los Angeles, I think they would be very jealous of your participation versus ours. So that's a good thing, and it's a good sign just alone for that internal survey. Let's open it up for any comments or questions from the board.
I just have a question for Louis. Is there any indication from the CEO when they will be going to the board to get approval to raise the lifetime limit?
Yeah, Trustee Fessler, they didn't give us exactly what month, but I know I would imagine with their agenda, I'd be surprised if it'd be the latter part of this year, but probably more like early part of next year. As long as the Board of Supervisors has an approval before July 1st, 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Additional questions?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I love that Karen, was it Stevens, gave a shout out to the people who came before her, particularly the trailblazing women. My mom was one of those women. She was an interpreter. She started about, 40 something years ago. She's well retired now, maybe even more than 40 years ago, maybe 50 years ago. She was one of the first Armenian interpreters who was certified, but they weren't LACERA. And I will tell you, the group of interpreters that fought like heck to get the interpreters into the LACERA was overwhelming. So I can't wait to tell her that Miss Stevens, who I don't know if she knows her or not, but gave a shout out to them. So it's just really nice to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Additional comments? Hearing none. Any last comments?
No, some comments are good in the order, but
Perfect. Okay, we'll move along to our disability retirement applications on the consent calendar. Our first will be page 1, applications 720E through 732E. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
So moved and second. Let's please vote.
Ms. Ginsburg,
Yes.
Ms. Langton,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Oakham,
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, moving on to page 2, which is our fire and lifeguards, application 1989B through 1997B.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
motion.
please, need a motion.
Motion.
I'll second it.
So moved and seconded. Let's please vote.
Ms. Ginsburg,
Yes.
Ms. Langton,
Aye.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Oakham,
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we have no safety NSCDs, so we're moving on to our page 4, general member SCDs. It's going to be application 2983C through 2990C. I'll need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and second. Let's please vote.
Ms. Ginsburg,
Yes.
Ms. Langton,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Oakham,
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
And our final consent calendar is NSCD application 4517. I'll need a motion.
Motion.
Moved and seconded. Let's please vote.
Okay, Ms. Ginsburg,
Yes.
Ms. Langton,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Oakham,
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you. We'll move on to our consent items. We have A through F. Does any member wish to pull any for discussion?
I have a couple comments or questions, not anything.
Or this is specific items?
Yeah, but
Okay, let me know which items.
the review of the fiduciary council policy.
Okay, so item E.
Yeah,
Any
is that
additional-
it?
And then you have a request for a proposal for the fiduciary. Do you want to pull that as well?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so E and F. Okay, so let's go ahead, unless we have any additional items to pull, we'll vote on the consent calendar A through D.
Okay,
And moved, and I'll
Oh.
need a second. Perfect, let's vote.
okay. Ms. Ginsburg?
Yes.
Ms. Langton?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Ms. Fessler?
Yes.
Mr. Oakham?
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe?
Aye,
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
And Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
perfect. That moves us to our excluded from consent items, and our first item of business is item E, review of fiduciary council policy. And Ms. Fessler, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you. My question, I have two questions. One is with respect to section 4.2.3, the standing meetings with the chairs.
Yes.
It says the fiduciary council is responsible for initiating the meeting. Does that mean setting it up? I mean, it doesn't mean saying, hey, I need to meet with you guys, but it's the physical setting up of the virtual meeting or something?
It'd be coordination between the council and the chairs based on their availability. There would be the chairs would discuss times that are available with fiduciary council and they would
Right.
coordinate that.
Okay, I was concerned, I thought that's what it meant, but I was concerned that what it meant was fiduciary council would make the decision about when such a meeting was appropriate.
No, no, no.
Yeah, okay, just clarifying. All right. And then on 4.6, it's the discussion of when there's a problem with the chair and the vice chair. And it says that the chair and the vice chair will be excluded from calculating a quorum. How can a document that is just our own internal policy override whatever the statutory requirements are for what constitutes a quorum of our board?
Well, the quorum is based on the number of members who can vote and having enough members available to vote. So if there is a conflict with the chair and the vice chair, they would not be able to vote.
Okay, so the statute that governs the Board of Retirement and the Board of Investments meetings says that if a seat is vacant, or if a member is disqualified for some reason, those in that instance, they don't count toward what you're calculating when you determine a quorum?
Correct.
Okay, because that's not the way that most statutes, most quorums under the law are for public agencies are calculated. So you usually have to count, for example, if you've got a school board of 7 and you've got a vacant position, you still have to calculate off of 7 and not off of 6.
Correct.
But here it's different.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then one final question on the RFP.
Mhm.
What
Do
the
we want to
contracts?
move to the,
Should we vote on?
Well, we can wait. It's just a quick question. I
okay,
just
go,
want quick.
go.
Are we just, how, the contracts expire at the end of October? We're not going to have new ones in place right away. So what are we doing during the gap?
The contracts allow for a 2-year extension.
Right.
So depending on what happens in this situation, we would probably have to enter into an agreement with the current fiduciary council to extend the contracts.
For a limited period of
Yeah,
time or
yes,
something?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, so we have actually to the end of the year because the negotiations with the contract lagged from the time that the contracts were signed.
okay, all right. So the contract doesn't actually expire then until the end of
October.
2025?
Right.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any additional comments or questions from the board? Okay, if without objection, we can go ahead and do consent item, the remainder of the consent items E through F through one motion. So moved and seconded. Did we get second?
Yep.
Okay.
Ms. Ginsburg? Ms. Langton?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Oakham,
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
okay, Mr. Harris.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Perfect. That brings us to our non-consent item A, which is our 2026 Star Cola program eligibility cost. I'll let Ted go ahead and do our introduction on this item.
Okay. All right. Good morning, Secretary Kehoe and Board of Retirement Trustees. My name is Ted Granger. I'm LACERA's Chief Financial Officer. Joining us on the Zoom today is Craig Glide. He's one of he's from Milliman, one of LACERA's lead pension consulting actuaries. So Craig's on the phone to back me up in case there's any really tough questions. And also I want to thank Dina from my team for driving the slides for us today. There's a recommendation before the board. It has two parts. The first part is to make public the costs of awarding the 2026 Star Cola, and we'll be looking at that in more depth next meeting in terms of the cost, but we can certainly address those today and make those public. The second part of the recommendation is for the board to direct the staff to bring this item back to the board next month so the board can decide whether or not to award Star Cola and what method will be used to award that benefit for next year. In light of the educational session we did in July, I shortened the slides for this particular meeting. I wanted to focus on maybe 4 or so key concepts: the eligibility, the cost, the methods, and the funding. So I did try to consolidate and condense it a little bit. And so with that, maybe we could go to slide 5 and I'll just jump right in. Perfect, thank you. So in terms of the 2026 Star Cola eligibility, what I did was I took a snapshot from the accumulation balance table. And what I'm showing here is, and I actually also borrowed this from Milliman, what we're showing here is the accumulation account balances that exceed the 20%, which make these groups of retirees eligible for the Star Cola should the board decide to give that award for next year. Remember that once those balances exceed the 20%, that excess balance can be awarded under the STAR program. Another way to look at it is in terms of the 80% purchasing power. So for example, that first line, these particular members would have a 78.6 level of purchasing power. Should the Star Cola award be awarded and you add that 1.4%, that would award those members 80%. They would go from 78.6 plus the 1.4 star to 80%. So there's two ways to look at it from an 80-20 perspective. Next slide, please. I don't know if there's any questions on eligibility, but I'll go ahead and move to the next slide. I'll start from the bottom. There would be about 2,153 retirees eligible. That's based on our current count. That could change a little bit depending upon the membership at January 1 when we actually measure and make this award should the board decide to do that. The important part of this slide is the two costs of the two different types or methods in awarding the Star Cola. The first one is the ad hoc COLA, would cost about $832,000, and that's the one-time increase for the 1 calendar year. The second method is the permanent increase. That's the 8.824 million, and that's for the permanent award. And I'll talk a little bit about the methods on the next slide. So if we could go to slide 7, please. Thank you. So on this slide, we have sort of a side-by-side comparison of the two methods. We can talk about them briefly here. We can also talk about them a little bit more next time, should the board desire. But basically, on the ad hoc side, we have a temporary benefit. That benefit is good for the calendar year. That benefit is not included in future calculations for the statutory COLA that the board could award going forward in April. Again, it's a temporary benefit. And the COLA accumulation balances are not reduced under the ad hoc method. So they keep that, for example, 1.4%, and we would take a look at that again for the 2027 cycle. On the right-hand side, the permanent STAR award is basically go forward. It's a lifetime benefit for the member. It adds to their base salary. It also would then be attributable to calculating the statutory COLA part of the base salary, and then you add on a statutory COLA should that happen for next, or excuse me, yeah, for next April. The COLA accumulation account balance is reduced because in essence, you're taking that 1.4% and you're taking it out of the accumulation and you're adding it to the member's benefit. With that, unless there's any questions on award methods, I'll keep moving along. Star COLA funding. Okay, so over on the left, I made this chart a little bit more colorful this time. I'm looking at the 2025 balance, about $607 million is in the Star Reserve at this point in time. And I have the two costs shown there in sort of the gold boxes. 8.8 million would be the permanent award, and the 832,000 would be a temporary award. And again, we are asking the board to direct us to come back next time so we can decide on number one, the method, and number two, whether or not there'll be an award, and then what method would be chosen. So I'm going to pause there. I did have some additional slides included in the deck. They're more of a step-by-step. I'm happy to walk through those slides this time. I think we covered a lot of ground last time. So I'll pause there for questions. And we also have Craig if necessary.
Perfect. I think the board is now certified STAR experts with your last presentation. So I will point out that in 25, when we made it permanent, is 1.6 million. And now we're looking at 8.8 million.
Great.
This is a significant increase. And as we know, that's going to continue to grow and continue to increase. So it still remains an issue that we need to address sooner rather than later. But I have Ms. Fessler.
I have a question about how long does this program apply to, let me rephrase this. Does it apply to people that were hired after 2013?
So for PEPRA members, yes, it does apply.
Okay.
Now, generally what happens, and I'm talking sort of in broad terms, it takes about 20 plus years-ish for your accumulation balance to get close to that 20% threshold.
Right.
So off the top of my head, I think the balances of PEPRA members are roughly, that balance is about in the teens. I want to say somewhere around 13 or 14. I'm just going off of memory. So they would not yet be eligible for the program until they get to that 20, above the 20% level.
Right. I understand. I was just trying to figure out if the program was only applicable to like legacy members or something, maybe we wouldn't have to be quite as concerned about the decrease in the fund. But if it's an ongoing permanent kind of a thing, then the fund balance is a pretty relevant consideration for us.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
It's only Plan E members that are not eligible for Star COLA.
Okay.
The rest of the membership is eligible.
Thank you.
Sure.
Additional questions? And PEPRA member gets COLA like legacy members as far as the 2%, or how does that work again?
Yeah. Yes, your question is regarding statutory COLA.
Yeah.
So Plan G general members would be eligible for the 2% statutory COLA in April, and then the safety members would be eligible for the, I'm sorry, the safety members will also be eligible for the 2%.
Okay, yep. Perfect. Okay, I don't think that we have additional questions or need additional explanations in the presentation.
I have one question.
Mr. Oakham?
Yeah. Explain the 8,824,000. Can you explain how that is broken down, where it comes from? I didn't understand that when you went through your presentation.
Sure. So I'll kick off the discussion. I might have Craig talk a little bit about the calculations, but what we're talking about, the 8.8 million, that's a permanent award. So what happens is the actuary calculates the amount that they project that is necessary to fund that Star COLA benefit over the lifetime of the 2,135 members we're talking about today that are eligible. So Milliman does their calculations and they come up with this particular number. We take that money out of the Star Reserve and we put it in our employer reserve and we pay it like a normal benefit because it's essentially a permanent benefit. So there's a little bit of accounting. Well, first there's the actual calculations, a little bit of accounting as we do the transfer, and then we pay it like a normal benefit.
All right, now let's project out 10 or 15 years.
Mhm.
We got 2,100 now. How many do you project down the road that we would have being able to receive that Star COLA? Or is that a tough thing to do?
Yeah, so those are projections that the actuary could help us with in terms of the future eligibility. And we were planning to bring back a couple of those slides for next month that we provided in July. And Craig has one good slide that shows projected eligibility, projected number of members that might be eligible in the future. And again, these are projections. These are rough estimates at this point.
Okay.
Because it all depends upon the CPI. And whatever the CPI is doing, that affects the statutory COLA, and then it affects the Star COLA down the road, right? It all starts with the CPI. So whatever those projections are based on the CPI, that would determine the Star COLA and the eligibility.
Did you say there was how much, 600 million in the Star COLA, and that's a separate account?
It is tracked separately. It's a separate account. It's 607 million. At one point, it was a little over $1 billion. The county initially funded it with the excess earnings back in the 90s. We were up to about 1.023 billion. Over time, in terms of awarding Star COLAs, we've drawn down that money exclusively to pay Star COLA benefits. Those benefits historically have been awarded on a permanent basis, meaning we've typically used a little bit higher amount. The board has decided to use that permanent award, which resulted in the higher benefit level. And so those retirees that were awarded historically, the Star COLA, it has been on a permanent basis. So
if that money runs out, how do you replace that 600 million?
that is a great question. We are, it was originally funded by the county. So we are.
They funded $1 billion, or it went up to $1 billion?
They funded $1 billion
it
through
did grow.
excess earnings.
Okay.
We don't provide interest credits or any kind of additions to that account. We're talking internally. We're going to have some discussions about what potential plans could be, what our options are in terms of looking at the funding for the Star Reserve for the future. So,
And I have Mr. Glide.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add on to Ted's comments there on the question of the projection of the number of affected retirees. We have run those numbers, and so they're included in our letter with the Star Reserve. There's 2 attachments there that projects out some of these numbers for counts and dollars. But in attachment A to our letter, we're assuming that CPI is 2.75% each year in the future. And the number of eligible retirees is projected to be in that sort of 2,000 to 3,000 participant range for about the next 10 years. But then in about 2035, there's a big spike in the number. It'll go up, projected to go up to about 16,000, from 3,000 up to 16,000 in 2035. And then 10 years later, the number is projected to be still in that sort of 17 to 18,000 members for eligibility on the Star.
Craig, could you remind us why we have that spike from sort of that 2,000 to 3,000 to the 16,000?
Yep, absolutely. There's a significant group of retirees, anybody who retired between 2006 and 2018, that are all in the same group that have the same size of accumulation account. And so if CPI runs at 2.75 and these people have been receiving 2% statutory COLAs, as their accumulation bank has increased by that 0.75% each year, they will all cross the 20% threshold at the same time. And so you've got 12 years of retirees that will all cross together and become eligible at the same time. And so that's why we get that big spike from 3,000 to 16,000.
Great, thank you.
I think that we need, and I'm not going to be here, so I think we're going to need to do some projections. If you're jumping, in 10, 12 years, how are you going to pay for that? Because it's not going to come out of the other money in the in LACERA. So I don't know if you need to start investing that to have it grow, because if it doesn't grow, you're gonna run out of it pretty quickly.
Yes, thank you.
And we definitely have that on the radar. And I think we have staff coming back with some future presentations. We gotta have some internal discussions on it. Question on the permanent versus temporary that kind of popped in my mind. If it was temporary and then you run into a deflationary environment, does that offset future, or is it kind of locked in stone regardless of it being temporary or permanent? So in future years, would it be a cheaper cost because of that? If you understand my question.
Right. So I'll take a run at this maybe before Craig steps in. It depends upon the CPI and what happens with the accumulation account balances, if you will. So if we, for example, one particular group was at 20.03, I recall, I'm sorry, 20.08. Okay, so the temporary benefit would leave that account at 20.08. CPI comes along, and CPI is a relatively low number. Let's say CPI is 1.0%. So we fast forward to the April statutory COLA. Well, we have members that are eligible for a 2.0 statutory COLA or a 3.0 statutory COLA. What we do then for statutory COLA is we would take that 0.8 out of the bank. Actually, we would take 1.0 out of the bank, and we would give it to those members. Because CPI was only 1.0, we would take the 1.0 out of the bank and we'd give those members the 2.0. At that point, your COLA accumulation account would be below the 20%. So in this particular example, even though we left it in there per the ad hoc, we left that 0.8 in there, the CPI and statutory COLA reduced the eligibility, eliminated that eligibility for that particular group for the next star COLA. So it's a little bit complicated because of the way the math works. We always have to start with the statutory COLA and the CPI, figure out what happens with the bank balances, and then we look at star.
So, and that I'm assuming was not part of the actuarial application because we didn't assume any type of deflationary environment when we're looking at that COLA over the long term.
So Craig's projections from last time, I believe, were a 2.75 projection for CPI. I'm sorry, Craig, can you?
Yeah, the scenarios that we have run so far was for assuming the 2.75 every year, and then the alternate scenario was assuming 4% for 3 years and then reverting to 2.75. So we could run additional scenarios that showed alternate future environments if that information would be helpful for the board.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if we have some up years and down years as far as inflation goes, it'd be interesting to see the impact on the permanent versus temporary side of the decision-making tree.
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Sean, but real quick, but the same thing, using that same scenario, but if CPI was 2 instead of 1, the same mechanics would happen to that point, right? But that 1% left on the table would show up as star COLA January of the following year, correct? That's where the draw would be. And it's still under the actuary estimation, but.
Right. Okay. So if CPI was 2.0, then there would be no change to the accumulation account because we are in essence awarding the maximum statutory COLA, right? So we wouldn't have to make changes to the bank. We wouldn't add to it or we wouldn't deduct from it, right?
It's already at 20.8 under, as example, right? But that 0.8, that's rounded up to 1%, right? Would that not pay January 1st?
So for next cycle, we would be looking at the 20.8 again. You're correct. and we would be considering the star COLA for that 0.8%. So statutory didn't change that particular balance that we're talking about, the 20.8. We have a 2.0 statutory COLA that's awarded, that's done. No change to the bank. It stays at 20.8. We move forward to star COLA. We could award that 0.8%.
Would
The
it
ra-
not be rounded to don't you round it to the nearest? Would it be-
That methodology is done on statutory COLA,
Gotcha.
But not on Star Cola.
not on star COLA. There's no rounding on star COLA.
No rounding when the deal goes to county. So, I mean, and that's to Craig then, I mean, obviously making these assumptions and losing clarity as it goes further out, but isn't it a better assessment of sustainability if, because, 3/4 of a point, I don't know. I'm just asking the question, like, if that, it's been, CPI has been pretty consistent the last, 4, 5, 6 years. So
Right.
Does that change that, or is that just a standard assumption that, like, under us, being conservative, so to speak? Is that the?
I mean, it is actual experience that is going to drive ultimately what the star numbers are and the projected star numbers are. Whatever we assume is just for the projection purposes. So certainly, like through the 2010s period, CPI was quite low. It was below 2% for several years. And so the banks, the COLA accumulation banks, all dropped below 20%. And so there was no star COLAs. And then recently we've had this higher period of actual inflation, which has now caused us to move into this star period again. So the future experience over the next 10 years, I guess, could go a lot of different ways. Our standard assumption in the valuation is 2.75% average annual inflation, but it is the actual that's going to drive it. So we certainly can run some of those scenarios to see if inflation was to move around, and so some years it was higher and some years it was lower, we could look at it and see what the patterns were there, and if the banks moved above and below 20%, so that eligibility, because people could move in and out of eligibility, as Ted mentioned, if CPI was moving 1 year below, 1 year above that 2%, that eligibility could change.
Right. So just to summarize what Craig said, it depends upon CPI and where that goes. Does it?
Yeah, I mean, this is like the fourth or fifth one you've done. You really do a good job of explaining it. I understand it. What's fascinating to me is how that in and out of eligibility, it's got to be a huge number, because as we progress, I mean, you look at the retiree numbers and basically everybody is eligible for the star, right? And that bank starts. I mean, that's a lot to track.
Right.
And it's fascinating how I mean, how many active retirees do we have right now? We have what, 92,000 or something, 90 something thousand.
Yeah, I think it's in that ballpark. I think, yes, but it's about 2,000 to 3,000 that are eligible for star right now.
Just over the 20% threshold, but I mean, still, it seems like a lot to track. Keeping track of all those bank balances. Thanks.
Thank you. Any additional questions, comments from the board? I'm seeing none. So we do need to make a motion, and rather than reading in both motions, I'm just going to go with staff recommendation. I'll need a motion for staff recommendation.
I'll move.
Thank you. It's moved. I'll second. Let's please vote.
Okay, Ms. Ginsburg,
Yes.
Mr. Razo, Ms. Langton,
Yes.
Mr.
Aye.
Root. Thank you, Mr. Razo. Mr. Root,
Yes.
Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Oakham,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
and Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you.
Perfect. Do we need to do the for draws, or do we need to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go ahead. We tabled the procedures for a teleconference meeting. We have Mr. Razo on, so let's go ahead and do the legal stuff.
Okay, and Mr. Raza will be participating by teleconference AB 2449 for Just Cause 8, contagious illness. Trustee DeRosa, can you please confirm if there are any individuals 18 years or older present at your location?
No one else is present.
Thank you very much.
Great. Okay, we're moving on to our non-consent item B, which is the proposed boardroom floor plan layout. Mr. Beasley.
Good morning, Mr.
Morning.
Chair and trustees of the board. I'm James Beasley with Administrative Services, and today I'm going to discuss the several items from the boardroom proposal that was addressed back in May. But before I move forward, I want to thank Andrea Elson, who's going to
Running the slides.
So Andrea is going to be running the slides, and after the presentation, Laura here will and myself will address any questions that you guys may have regarding the changes. So back in May, we presented a proposal to relocate boardroom operations to the first floor and inform the trustees that we would follow up with a design feedback survey. Based on the feedback we received, several trustees requested more space at the dais and better visibility of both the audience and each other during discussions. In response, the architect revised the design to feature a open-faced U-shaped dais. And not so this traditional dais that we have right here, it's going to be more open so that everybody in the dais would be able to see the audience much better. And same thing with the audience, we would be able to see you guys better at the dais. Oh, Andrea, sorry. There we go. As you can see in the slide, it's more outwards, facing outwards, so that the view would be much easier for everyone. But in order to make this practical, there were some changes that we had to be made to this plan, and they were as you can see in the on the left-hand side, the board assistance office. We had to reduce that significantly. Before there was we were able to sit 2 people in there. Now it's only 1. Also, we had to reduce the size of the board lounge and also the audio video support room. In addition to the dais enhancements within the main boardroom, there are 2 building structural support columns. Next slide, please. That are partially obstructed the view for some of the audience. However, the expanded room and new layout will reduce the impact by allowing us to add additional seats throughout the room, and to further enhance the experience, we plan to install wraparound screens and additional monitors throughout the room so that everyone can clearly see the person speaking. As you can see in the rendering on the left-hand side, there are 2 pillars that will obstruct some of the view of the audience sitting directly behind it. They will still be able to see some of the trustees, but not all. So in response to that, a solution, we decided that possibly maybe a wraparound screen around the pillar that shows the person speaking would help with the individual scene. And additionally, we can show PowerPoint presentations up there as well. As you can see on the right-hand side, the image shows the dais without the columns. It actually helps you guys get a better visual of what the concept will look like. So there was one suggestion to hold closed sessions meetings in the board lounge. Due to the size of the board lounge, moving the closed session meeting from the boardroom to the lounge would negatively affect the overall space. This would require increasing the size of the lounge beyond the original plan, and as a result, we will have an impact on the size of the dais. We'll have an impact of the size of the dais and the audience seating itself. So we would have to reduce the size down. With these updates reflecting trustees' input and optimized design solutions, we respectfully request approval to begin construction of the new boardroom. We will also be going to the Board of Investments for approval as well. This concludes the presentation. Laura and I are more than happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, I'll open up for discussions. Ms. Langton.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the renderings. I just want to share with my fellow trustees, I don't know how many of you have gone down there and looked. The columns are really a lot bigger than they look in this picture. I was really actually surprised at how large and blocking they were. And you're welcome to answer that. But while I appreciate the wraparound screens, I just think it's a little uncomfortable for me to spend that much money and for people not to be able to see the dais or parts of the dais. And I just, like, I would not be a happy person sitting behind a column looking at a screen unless I was in overflow in another room. So that just really unsettled me quite a bit. I just wanted to add my 2 cents worth to see what all of you guys thought, because we're spending a lot of money.
So on the space with the columns, how many, so I'm going to assume only somebody sitting behind a column is if we have a packed house. And if we have a packed house, I'd rather people to be in the room than not in the room, right? So what is our seating arrangements? How many people can sit without being obstructed by the columns? And then how many people would we sit with obstructions by the columns? So that, I think that would really help us understand. And then let's compare and contrast that to our existing space layout.
So can we go back to the previous slide, Andrea? As you can see on the slide, the right column, the folks that are directly behind it, those are the ones that would be impacted.
I think there would be impact.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what I'm getting at is that I'm fairly certain that we are expanding overall capacity, right? Even with the columns.
We're
right?
looking at, because we originally came to you guys with 70, and with the expansion of the boardroom, we're able to add more seating throughout the suite. And there's also in the back, on the back left-hand corner, bottom left-hand corner, those that's a bench seating as well, kind of like we have over here in the back. So we'll be able to have more seating for the audience.
The overall seating more than doubles, I think almost triples the current seating that we have here. So it would increase the overall capacity significantly, despite the some of the seats being suboptimal, obviously. And these columns, unfortunately, are throughout the building. There's not really anything we can do. It's a very common problem in all buildings. So we would do our best to mitigate that to the greatest extent possible. But certainly there are, better seats in the building, in the location, and some lesser quality seats.
But so when we're looking at the math, though, 3 times the amount of seating, if 1/3 of them is obstructed view, we still have more than double that we're increasing our seating arrangements, plus having the ability to have increased capacity for some of the larger items or issues that come up. I guess the only thing on my end is the dais, how it's set up. So we're more talking to the audience versus each of us talking together. But at the end of the day, there's pluses and minuses to both. A lot of things that we do as a board are communicating amongst the board as we deliberate on items to vote. But then a lot of the stuff we do also talks to the to staff and audience. So I see the pluses and minuses of both layouts. I have Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, not only am I a fire captain, but I also moonlight as an interior designer. But I really, it's good. And I think there's some good points. The wraparound might be, having screens on all sides. Just maybe to the people that are blocked, that would be a great place for a screen, but also too, staff often has to catch up in here during the meetings, and it might be an area possibly for, I'm just spitballing with you guys, but maybe for a counter space or a charging station. We have the buffet over here on this side and then the couch in the back here. It looks like on the rendering, you have a couch to the left side on the boardroom layout. Is that correct? Is that a couch seating area or a buffet?
That's the bench, just similar to the. bench.
Perfect. Yeah. So, but like charging stations, but those columns might be an opportunity for ADA, accessibility area, like off to the side with a counter space so people can do some laptop work or something, or a charging station. I mean, you can utilize them,
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I like that, where the space that you can't see, you can set up as like a desk area, charging.
Yeah,
station
just so
or
you
something.
something to have, someone has to do some work or something, and then the screens obviously, mirroring what's in front of them. But I don't know, just an idea. Are they load bearing?
Yes, they're the main support.
Just get a big old beam, in there and open that thing up. Yeah.
We'll just take out one of the beams. We should be good.
Yeah, no, it looks well thought of, and I know it's some work on getting that stuff done, and we're not going to be able to fit all bills, but I'm not too concerned about block view or whatever. It is nice to have the and if there's enough seating available, just move around it. And, that would be my ad. It's just utilize the space and not have screens on all four sides.
Right.
Just on the back. So.
I have Ms. Fessler.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll
I
get you next one.
just wanted to point out that we were talking about the configuration of the, I don't know what happened to the schematic, but the configuration of the board itself and how we're more flapped out. But that would be only, I mean, we'd use all those chairs only in a joint meeting, correct? I mean, and so for the most part, we're still going to be positioned where we'll be able to see each other, and the people in the audience will be less likely to be blocked because there won't be folks sitting at the far end of those wings, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So I mean, I appreciate the issue, but I think it's much less likely to present itself as a problem or as a concern or limitation in a practical sense because of the way the folks are going to be seated around the dais.
And in addition, that we're going to have the dais actually raised 6 inches off the ground, so we would be able to see you guys much easier in the audience. Because I was actually sitting back here in the back, and it was difficult to see some of you because of the back of the heads.
Sure.
So being raised will definitely be beneficial.
And poor posture. You can't call it a horseshoe anymore. It's going to be a boomerang.
Boomerang.
There you go.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, Mr. Oakham.
Yeah, Jim, so it's 3 times the amount of seating that you have here?
Yes.
I'm going to ask a real dumb question. Have we tried to rent that space the last 2 or 3 years since the bank has moved out, or because we're putting this downstairs that we really didn't try to rent it?
When the bank's lease, the bank left prior to the end of their lease. And so when that occurred, we brought this to you. So since the boards both expressed support for that space, we have not been actively trying to.
How long did they
lease
pay the
that.
rent after they left?
I don't recall. We'll have to get back to you. They were, yeah.
But I mean, a couple of years.
No, it was less.
It was just the beginning of this, or in last year.
Yeah, it's only been it has been less than a year since they have moved out.
Okay.
So I'm a huge supporter of this. I think this is very well needed. Not only are you going to have the benefit of being able to start using this space up here on the 8th floor, which obviously LACERA needs as an organization, but this makes it way more convenient for our members to be able to come attend board meetings, not have to go through, we'll have some security there, but not have to go to the same level of security, go into staff areas and have access to that. And on top of that, we have a lot more space and flexibility down there. So I think that at the end, although I do know that there is a cost to it, I do think that the benefit outweighs the cost. My only request, I'm the one who has been pushing for us moving into closed session rather than pushing the audience out into closed session, but I understand based on space limitations that would be difficult, especially with some of the things that we deliberate on. So my request is, since we're going to remain the same practice, that we keep that in mind with the closed session, and that we do everything we can to soundproof the area, because I do know that even when we're in closed session here, that sometimes those outside can't overhear some of those conversations. So please put that in the forefront as this is being planned out. I think it's really well, because I mean, 3 of the 4 corners is going to be adjacent to the building, so you're not going to have much overhearing. But I think we need to look at like the lobby doors, the AV room doors, those kind of areas, making sure that we have some extra soundproofing in that, so that when we are in closed session and we are still talking on microphones, that will not be projected out into the hallway to be overheard. Okay, so do we need to do a motion on this? I believe we do, right? To take it to the Board of Investments.
I'll move it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Okay.
Please vote.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Yes.
Mr. Raza?
Aye.
Ms. Langton?
Aye.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Ms. Fessler?
Yes.
Mr. Oka?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
And Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you. Motion passes. That brings us to our reports. Does anybody want to take a break before we jump on reports? Okay, let's go ahead and do a quick, we'll do a 10-minute break. We'll come back at 10:15 and we'll get started on our reports.
Recording stopped.
Moving along.
Disability. We are on a report, item A, which is our legal transaction year-end report.
Good morning, trustees.
Recording in progress.
I'm Christine Roseland, Senior Staff Counsel for the Legal Division. In your board packet, there is a report setting forth the accomplishments of the transactions group for calendar year 2024, sorry. My colleague, Susan Wang, to my right, I would like to provide you with a brief summary of that report this morning and give you some context as it relates to the charts and graphs contained in that report. As you'll see, the charts and numbers on commercial agreements are a reflection of LACERA's organizational priorities and the various initiatives being driven by the executive office and management team. Similarly, the investment transactions are reflective of the investment division's priorities and focus for the year and are closely aligned with the initiatives approved by the Board of Investments when their work plan is presented in the beginning of the year. Next slide, please. First, we'll start with who we are and what we do. The transactions team is part of a larger legal division, which also includes teams dedicated to benefits, disability, litigation, and employment. Our transactions team is one of the bigger teams within the legal division and is typically comprised of 4 attorneys, 2 legal analysts, and 2 secretaries. 1 attorney is focused on commercial transactions and public records requests, while 3 are dedicated to investments. 2 of those 3, including Susan, joined LACERA only last year as we filled several vacancies prompted by departures and added positions as a result of the large volume of work we process. We also have 2 vacancies that are currently filled by temps and returning retirees, which we hope to fill soon.
Next slide, please. Good morning, trustees. I will now provide a high-level overview of what the transactions team does. The team is responsible for supporting the investment division as well as all other LACERA departments with their transactional legal needs. This support is comprised of drafting, negotiating, and reviewing agreements, as well as providing advice and general problem solving, drafting policies, and protecting pension assets from excessive risk and liability. The team also supports strategic initiatives around the organization, including LACERA's 5-year strategic plan, as well as investment initiatives such as growing the TIDE program, increasing operational effectiveness, advancing technology innovation, and updating policies and procedures. Next slide, please. And one more, thank you. As you'll see in the slide deck, the total number of projects completed during this past year, not including Public Records Act requests, is 566, which represents an aggregate contract value of $8.8 billion. This year, we experienced a 29% increase in transaction volume compared to the prior year. Much of this increase came from certain asset classes within investments, as well as from IT and HR and commercial transactions. For example, the systems division has been particularly active. They have been building out cybersecurity capabilities, maintaining and ordering new physical equipment, upgrading password management, bringing in consulting services and staff training, and enhancing offices with hybrid meeting equipment. They also focus on data management, contract management, project management, backup services, and additional software for cloud management and Microsoft platforms. Human Resources also has required significant legal support. Their needs included agreements for recruiting and temporary staffing, classification studies, new software for performance management and training tracking, and consulting arrangements for coaching and development programs. Taken together, these activities reflect LACERA's broader investment initiatives and LACERA's 5-year strategic plan. These priorities include leveraging innovation through technology to advance organizational capabilities, increasing productivity, and enabling better decision-making through tools such as business intelligence platforms. Another priority is investing in people by developing enterprise-wide training and career development programs and simplifying the hiring process to support succession planning. At the same time, the organization is working to build a comprehensive compliance program and implement a stronger enterprise risk management framework supported by new accounting software and other organizational tools.
Next slide, please. When we step back and look at these numbers collectively, we see clear trends. First, LACERA as an organization is undergoing its own transformation, guided by the priorities set forth in its 5-year strategic plan. Technology demands are increasing, and data management, including contract management, knowledge management, and performance metrics, has become increasingly important to supporting a growing organization. The second trend is the rising complexity of both transactions and compliance needs, which has led to a need for stronger enterprise risk management structures. Public Records Act requests illustrate this shift as well. While the number of requests has remained relatively stable, the complexity of these requests has grown substantially. Broader searches, tailored responses, extensive redaction, and additional communications now mean that each request consumes more staff time, even though the total volume has not changed. We're also seeing significantly greater complexity in investment structures. A decade ago, most of our portfolio was managed under straightforward investment management agreements. Today, the majority of our investments involve alternative structures that require far more extensive legal documentation. Each of these structures bring new layers of negotiation and compliance review. In addition, as both the pension plan and the OPEB trust continue to grow, additional allocations and new managers are introduced, each requiring legal review and support. Next slide, please. Looking ahead, we expect these trends to continue. We foresee sustained demand for legal services, a continued emphasis on compliance and risk mitigation, and ongoing support for both organizational priorities and investment initiatives. Next slide, please. And this concludes our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions you may have for us.
Great, thank you. Good presentation, and I especially like the actual report that was included in our board packet. Very thorough, detailed, but also, not overboard. So I think it was very beneficial. I would love to see more LACERA departments do that and have this type of report so that we can see all the good work that you're doing, plus all the other teams are doing. But very beneficial for us as a board to get a high level view. Turn it over to the board. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Thank you very much for your report. Okay, we have items B through G as information only. Would any members of the board like to hold these for discussion? Seeing none, we will move along to our items for staff review. Do we have any? Nope, no items for staff review. Moving on to future agenda. Any trustee have any requests for future agenda items? Hearing none, that brings us to the good of the order.
We'll start with Mr. Green.
Thank you. September's preparedness month, and I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the weather. How can you, they said it was going to be hot, but I'm not seeing it.
It's cooling down.
I had a bunch of lightning busts in the Sierra Nevadas, but anyway, preparedness month, it's a good time to go over a plan, have a plan, just think about it. And so, I don't think it's going to get any, Mother Nature's not going to give up on us here anytime soon. So that's it. Just thanks for everybody on the work, and we had Labor Day, and hope everybody remembers what that's about, and that's it. Thanks so much.
Mr. Green, Ms. Ginsburg? Mr. Harris? Ms. Fessler?
I just want to point out for the record that today's meeting was much, much shorter than when Trustee Robbins runs the meetings. He's so focused on lengthening those meetings. I don't understand why he's not more interested in a speedy wrap up of the business of the organization. So just want to make sure that makes it into the minutes.
We'll send him a letter.
Thank you, Mr. Oakham.
I'm not sure how to respond to that. I'm not sure how to respond. That's why he's running the meeting and I'm not running the meeting, because he runs a great meeting. No, I don't have the, and I'm not sure what went on, Sean, at the Rose Bowl at a concert, okay, where sheriffs were there. Did you have any background on that 2 weeks ago? When some lady got pummeled and people were all over the, I know one thing, everybody will have a seat from now on. That, they got Oasis coming in this weekend. But any comments on that you've heard what occurred?
No, but if I did, I probably couldn't talk about it.
Okay. right, that's it. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Oka. Ms. Langton?
Thank you. Lifetime max benefit, great work. I think we are so much farther along than I thought we would be. It's exceptional work, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Langton. Mr. Moore? Okay, Mr. Rue? Okay, Mr. Razo?
Nothing from me.
Okay, we'll go to Lewis and then Mr. Kia. Lewis?
Great, no, thank you. And certainly the Lifetime Max is behind me, Cassandra, the legal team, and definitely all of the legwork that they did. A few things, the conversation around the boardroom, I want to make sure that there's clarity around the numbers. The new boardroom will have 90 audience seats in the space, including the bank of the bench on the side. That's probably another 10, so about 100 seats. Whereas right now we're about 35, 40 seats, maybe if we factor in. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure, I know they were saying, 3 times, but it's probably 2.5 times. So I want to make sure that's on the record. With that, I want to announce, it's always great when we get to onboard new team members to LACERA. So I want to take a moment to onboard 7 new team members within our Disability Retirement Services Division. And with those, as I call their names, please stand up and then we'll acknowledge them collectively. But 7 new hires in DRS. And just for perspective, DRS has nearly 1,200 pending disability applications with a processing time of about 16.5 months. So this is going to do no pressure, but this will be significant in terms of the support that division will have. So we have 3 of those 7 new hires external. So with that, Tony Fong joins us from the Department of Public Social Services. We have David Garibian joining us from Sedgwick, which is the county's third-party administrator. And we also have Shay Matsura joining us from Permanente Medical Group. And then our 4 internal promotions is Maritza Perez transitioning from LACERA Member Services Outreach. And we also have Justin Chu, Gabriela Valadez, and Sarah Robles, all who successfully completed targeted training in close collaboration with DRS and HR and have been promoted. So those 7 individuals, if you can please stand, and congratulations. And thank you to Tamara, her team, and going through that process of interviewing and making sure that we select the best and the brightest. And we also have, FASD has a promotion, Dina Carbajal, did I pronounce that correctly, Ted? 2.5 years, Dina has served as a contractor with LACERA, now she's permanently hired. So congratulations to Dina on her permanent hire with LACERA.
Great, thank you. I know we've passed the items for future agendas, but I would like us to add to a future agenda a specific discussion about the disability process and what we could do about lowering that number. I've had a number of members reach out to me on the length, and 16.5 months is a little beyond what I would consider acceptable for that. So I'm very happy to see our new hires, and I know we're going to be going in a good direction, but I do think that the board needs to discuss it. In the past, we've done an ad hoc committee to actually address that, and that was, I think we were at 14 months at the time when we did an ad hoc committee and thought it was a exigent situation. So let's have a future conversation about that, see what we could do about get those numbers down. Okay, and then in Mr. Robbins' defense, in 1998, when I was hired by the county, I was reading his articles, and that made me actually run in 2010 and get on this board because of how passionate he was in his articles and things. So I look up to him. He's been a mentor of mine, and the only reason why I could run a good smooth meeting is because of Mr. Robbins. So everything I have here is based on
Grasshopper, you have learned well from your teachers.
Well, I appreciate that. Okay, so I have no additional comments, so we'll go ahead and go into closed session.